Looks like we've got a pretty good group, so we'll go ahead and just get started. So welcome everybody to this Skills Kickstart session on pricing and promotions. Your presenter today is Lori. She's got some great content to cover for you today. My name is Jocelyn. I'm going to be your facilitator. We want to make this session as interactive as possible, so make sure you're putting any questions that you have in that Q&A or the chat feature there at the bottom, and I'll make sure we get those answered. And with that, I will hand it off to you, Lori.
All right. Thanks, Jocelyn. Yeah, my name is Lori Hamill. I'm here to give you the pricing and promotions basics skills kickstart today. I have been with the company for over 4 years now, and I'm the current customer enablement program manager. So I've been working on scheduling and working with Jocelyn to get the best content pushed out to you guys in these skills kickstart sessions and featured skills. Look for us at BevAge and say hello. Um, in this session today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the promotions data model. I think this is a foundational understanding to being able to, scale and build your promotions in expected and predictable ways. Get the right pricing at the right time for all of those customers. And we're going to talk about some of the nuance in our different promotions types, specifically around what is a product price and what is a frontline, and sort of tease apart those different promotion types as we go through. There will, of course, be some demo, so be prepared to see promotions live in action. All right. Now, like I said, I think that the heart of promotions is about getting the right customer and the right product tied to the right price every time. So the way that we do that is through this sort of data model that looks at customer, product, and locations to find that sweet spot in the center. So by doing all of those things together, we will find that predictability. We're going to be able to replicate those pricing successes over and over and, throughout time. So this is what that data looks like when we sort of map it out. So at that highest record level, the promotion, there are different ways that we tie those things together. So I showed the customer and the location and the product, and we can see all of those things here linked directly to the promotion via promotions products, promotion zones, and promotions locations. Now I can also tie a promotions customer to it. And basically what this means is that individual products get grouped together as part of promotions products. The naming convention here feels a little bit repetitive. We're going to say promotions maybe 1,000 more times in this session, partially because of these naming conventions. I have a promotion and I have products, and promotions products is the record that joins those two things together. It doesn't change the promotion and it doesn't change the product. It's a standalone record. So I create these groupings of promotions products records and that ties them to the promotion. And same thing for promotion zones. Promotion zone, however, is that direct collection in a sense of customers. Now, I can tie multiple promotion zones to a promotion, but it becomes one record. I put 30 customers or all of a chain or something like that in its own zone, and then I attach that one record, the promotion zones record, to the promotion. Versus if I were to do that with promotions customers, I would tie all 30 promotions customers records to the promotion. Again, that naming convention shows me that this is a record that ties those two things together. I have a promotion, I have a customer, and a promotions customers record is that single record that links the two things. Doesn't change the promotion and it doesn't change the customer. And again, same logic then applies for promotions locations. Now, am I likely to have 40 locations tied back to my site? It's certainly possible. More common configuration might be in that neighborhood of 2 to 5 different locations. However many it is for you, ultimately, locations also have to be tied to a promotion in order for them to be deployed successfully. So these are the primary ways that we do that directly to a promotion. Now, we do have an alternate workflow here that I haven't really talked about, and it's this market. Now, if you've ever created a promotion, you've noticed that market is a required field. And I see this in a few different flavors. I either have markets that don't have anything on them. I'm simply filling them out because I have to. Or I have markets that are used in the way that we see here on the sheet, that I add a promotion location and I add promotion zones to that market so that instead of having to tie out multiple records for zones and locations, I just do the one. I fill out the promotion with the market and it gives me more of a flat file visibility. We'll take a look at how this looks when we go to create that promotion, but know that this is a way that we can simplify this process. When I say flat file creation, it means that I look at the promotion level. I don't have to add subtables to it, and I can see all of the information that I need to see about who this promotion should apply to, how long it's going to run, and what products it might include. So Market is one of those tools that can really help us do that. All right, with some of that data model out of the way, I want to talk about these promotion types. I mentioned that I'm going to talk about the difference between a product price and frontline, and we'll take a look at a product price once we get into the system in the demo portion. But really, that frontline is the first level of pricing for any of your customers. And it's the full price that we would expect them to pay, the extended price on an invoice. The reason that we set this up in a promotion style, even though a frontline isn't really a promotion, it's a base price, right? Is because the product price doesn't offer the sort of dynamic agility that our promotions model does. So using this type of frontline to set up that pricing gives us the ability to offer different base prices. In my site, this is a good example, is that we have 3 different locations. They're in 3 different states. We actually deliver in 4 different states though. So let's say that in all of those states, we have military frontline, a chain frontline, and an everyone else frontline. If you're not military or chain pricing, you get the everyone else frontline. That gives me 12 different front lines. And that's just not something that the product price, that single field on every single product, would allow us to diversify. It doesn't give us any agility to be responsive in those ways, to offer different pricing in ways that are predictable and expected for those different types of customers. So that's why we have the ability to do the frontline in the way that we do, so that you can deploy those as needed in the ways that you expect to. Now, different than a frontline are our discount and price promotions. And in my experience, discount and price are coupled with frontline are the most common promotion types that we see. And they're going to do exactly what they say they're going to do. They're going to offer a discount or set a price. Now, discount is really the only promotion type that we can layer, and we can layer that only with frontline. So when I set a discount, say I'm setting a $2 discount on a product, I'm taking that $2 off of the frontline. But if I set a price, I am setting a different price than the frontline that I've set up. So if my product is $20 and I offer a $2 discount, I would put $2 on my discount promotion. But if I wanted it to be $18, it ends up being the same as if I took a $2 discount off of a frontline, but that price is then set at $2. And the way that those look different on an invoice is that in the price and extended price, we can see the price at $20, a $2 discount, and the extended price of $18 versus the price of $20, a $0 discount, and an extended price, right? I guess it would be a price of $18, $0 discount, and an $18 extended price. So however you expect those to be able to be displayed on your invoices for your customers to see and understand, know that that is the main difference between discount and price. We can do that at the case level, and we can also do different percentages. So remember, when we get in there, we'll see some options there, but these are the 3 types that we see the most of.
Lori, I have a quick question for you about those 2.
Sure.
If a chain has an EDLP or everyday low price, should we set that up as a frontline or as a price promotion?
I think, in my opinion, if this is, I guess it would come down to me for how often it would change, and do I want to be able to layer in discounts on top of that? if I expect to give them 50-cent discount, a 10% discount, or, however it is I plan to set those up, if other discounts are going to apply, things like buy one, get one, those are the reasons that I might do a frontline instead of a price, because ultimately a price is still a promotion. So if an everyday low price, I would probably want to set it as a frontline. I think it depends on what those chain agreements are. If we're going to offer any additional discounts, it makes sense. But ultimately, I think it comes down to the business rules that you have about it and what those agreements are in place. Given that information and sort of the nuance I've experienced in different sites, I personally would probably make it a front line.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. I am going to go ahead and go on to the zero promotion now. I feel like this is one of the least common ones. And the reason is it sells the product at $0. We're all here to sell product. And if I'm giving it away, that's not really the job, is it? There are times when we want to do that. Things like inventory adjustments, or if we're making donations and offering samples, there's a reason that this promotion exists. It's not common, and we typically are going to do that on a case-by-case basis. So it's not something that I want to add like the everyone promotion zone to. It's not something that I want to add, some of my larger promotions zones at all to, probably. At the market, I'm maybe not setting that market, and I'll do that through promotions locations and promotions customers directly, tying a single customer out to it at a time so that that $0 promotion can be applied. But it is exactly meant to give you sell the product at $0. And the reasons, like I said, that we might do that are ultimately because it needs to go on an invoice and it needs to get out of my inventory. And that's how we do that. So those zero promotions exist. It's uncommon, and these are the scenarios in which they happen. Not limited to, but including. Next up, we'll talk about free goods. Now, I do see free goods pretty frequently. And, it is your traditional buy one, get one, buy 5, get one, buy 10, get 2. We can do that with sort of qualifying purchases, a certain number and the variety of products that I've attached to this promotion. So whatever rules we create about that qualifying purchase, we can assign free goods to be added onto that invoice again, so that they get out of inventory, so that they are, invoiceable products at $0 for this add-on, right? But that is a promotion type that you could select. Finally, we have the at-cost promotion types. And these are the costs that you pay that may be, freight on board or simply laid in. It could be laid in plus tax or laid in minus tax, but these are commonly used for transfers or sales to other distributors. So again, going back to my demo site where I have 3 locations, if I have the flagship product is out in the second location and I, at the first location, am going to send a few pallets their way until they can get a delivery. I'm going to invoice them for it because it needs to move out of my inventory and into theirs. And that's why I want to make that move. But I'm not going to make a profit on the stuff that goes from warehouse to warehouse. I just need to be able to showcase that move. And our books need to be able to reflect that money. So because I'm in different states and I have to file different taxes, I have to be able to have the general ledger reflect the movement of those goods and the costs associated with that movement. It isn't just as simple as the product costs X amount, but now I'm putting a person in a truck, I'm filling up that truck with gas, I'm taking time out of their day to go deliver it, I have to unload it over there. There's all of these additional costs that may be laid into that. So this is the at-cost promotion types are going to allow you to do that best. Any other questions on promotion types before we move on?
I do have one that's a little bit not promotion type flavored, but a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
So they say not directly related, but does the automated supplier bill back app in Encompass take free goods into consideration? Or is participation on a free goods promotion calculated for all of the cases included in the minimum quantity to get the free case or just the free case? That's a long question, so I can repeat it.
All right, let me make sure I understand. So we have a free good promotion set up. It does or does not have participation already put on it. Unclear. All right.
We'll see if we get an answer.
All right. So ultimately my gut says that it will the app will calculate based on the participation that's set. So you'd have to be setting participation. Um, any participation that you have should be included by that app. If you're not setting participation, then it can't include it, right? The way that that does that for a free good, there's no distinction when you set it up that this is participation on a free good. So my gut says that as long as you're using the participation in the ways that you're filling out participation, that anything from that field will get tracked as part of that. But let me follow up. We'll confirm.
So, follow-up question. They
Mhm.
say, I guess the better question is what's the best way to set up a free goods promotion so that the participation is included?
Using the participation field. So we'll set that participation on the promotion product. So I wouldn't set it at the promotion level. We'll set it at the promotions product itself to include that on a per product basis. So in a world where I have buy five, get one, that means that I'm invoicing 5 products, they're going to get a 6th for free, right? If I'm setting the participation on all 5 of those promotions products, or all of the products that I've added into this, that the participation is going to be pulled from the promotions product record. I promised I would say promotions 1,000 times in this, and I feel like all right. I think in those type of specific scenarios, that's a great opportunity to pull in support. I can pose the hypotheticals. What I would expect to happen is any participation that you put in the participation field, either at the promotion or promotion product level, would get pulled in by the app. If you're seeing something different, or if you have specific questions about how it's going to run in a specific promotion, that's the kind of thing I think we need to engage support for.
Perfect. Thanks, Lori.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it for now.
Right. We've got 500 more promotions at least to say. So buckle up, folks. All right. Now we're going to get into the fun part. This is the demo. So let me move my little bar here because she is right in my way. There we go. And we're going to move into the my demo site. So what I'm looking at here is a product called Bloom and Breeze Lager, and it is a seasonal product. I've just recently added it to my site in preparation, knowing that I'm going to get it in spring. I see that it has a seasonal start month day of 3/15, so I don't yet have it in stock, or I'm about to receive it. And I want to make sure that there's a front line associated with it so that it's invoiceable when I actually do have it. Now, I'm going to start by looking at these promotion tables. I want to go down to promotions products, and I can see that I don't have any. It's not in a front line, and it doesn't have any price or discounts or anything else associated with it. This is currently linked to no other promotions, but I do have, I mentioned I would touch on this, a price set. So when I pulled this product in, the suggested retail price of $22 is something that I added with it from the Global Products Catalog. But the way it's set up right now, it is invoiceable. It's just that everybody's going to pay $22. And I don't want that because remember, I have 12 different front lines and I don't know what other sort of promotions I might want to run with this or need to run with it. So we're going to take a look into it. $22 is fine. Let's go back into those promotions products. There we are. And we're going to start adding them in. Now, I know I want this to be part of my front line. I'm going to receive it in one location in particular first, but I don't know what that promotion is. So I can either click here and say I want to add a promotions product, This is great when I already know what it is, but if I'm not sure or if I need to create a new promotion, I may need to go over to the promotions table to do that. In this case, I believe that it is the Pioneer uh nope. See, I probably should have looked. It is I'm gonna go ahead and look, guys. Measure twice, cut once. We're gonna go over to the promotions table. I'm looking for my front line, and I know that it is on the Sterling All market. So that is not something that I have set up. It looks like I've got an old one. I've got something for wind and clouds, but we're going to go ahead and add that promotion now. All right, so to start that, I'm going to say add promotions, and I will then have to choose a promotion type. In this case, I don't want it to be a discount because I am setting a front line, and I'm going to select that from the menu right here. Now it did default to discount, but this is my primary pricing. It's new to this, and I want it to be for first quarter or for March. You know, we're early in March, but have I accidentally carried over the February pricing? You know, changes need to be made. The next field down here is the market. Because I had come from the market, it auto-filled that for me, which is really helpful. I've really already got it set to Sterling All. There are other options here that I've got set up markets. So if I search for those again, I have an off-prem, an on-prem, and a main. Now, this is where naming conventions, I think, really matter. So if I'm going to be able to view any promotion as a flat file, just looking at that top level, my naming conventions have to be crystal clear. I can see that this is a front line, but what's the difference between Sterling All and Sterling Main? Is it just Sterling Main Street? Is it just Sterling the city? Is it the Sterling location? What does that include? So to me, this is an unclear naming convention. Now, because I know this system, and frankly, because I built all of these, I'm going to go ahead and tie it out to Sterling All because I know that that includes everyone who is a customer for the Sterling location. Doesn't matter if they're on or off-prem, doesn't matter if they're chain or military, everyone goes into this basic front line. I can continue to diversify, but that's my default one. The next field I would look at would be the line. So we've talked about markets and how it groups together a promotions location with promotion zones so that I can create that one single record and attach it here. And line does something similar, but it's products flavored. So I can create a grouping of my products and then just attach that line. So Bloom and Breeze is a product that is part of the Wind and Clouds Brewing Company. And if I had a line for all of my Wind and Clouds brewing, I would enter it here. And then I don't have to individually add those promotions products. Now here's the gotcha. And I don't even know if it's a gotcha. It's just a difference. In the scenario where we talked about having participation, I can set it in two different ways. I can set it at the promotion level, so we can see it down here in this field, or I can set it on the lower level of individual promotions products. And the time that I would want to make that decision is when I am going to have different participation for different products. So Wind and Clouds Brewing makes beer and they make seltzer. And if my participation is different on the seltzer products than it is on the beer products, this is a case where I will want to use the promotions products tied directly to the promotion instead of by putting them in a line and attaching the line. So when I can make one rule for all my products or all my customers, then we use market, we use line, we use participation and amount here. But if I need to tease those things apart, if I'm going to have different prices or different participation based on any of those varying characteristics, then I'm going to want to put that on the promotion product level, or I'm going to want to put a different market on the promotion. So those are the ways that we can sort of pull that apart. In this case, I'm not going to set a line. I'm going to attach a different in the individual promotions products. Because I already know I'm going to do that, I'm going to put a 0 for amount because it's a required field, and I'm going to put a 0 for participation. Again, you'll notice it's a required field. But I'm going to come back. I just talked about names and naming conventions, and now is the time. Now is the time for that to shine, because I want to be able to tell at a glance what this promotion is, who it's for, what it's doing, and why it exists. So if this is my Sterling Frontline, Wind and Clouds, because I'm doing just these products in this front line, I'm going to identify that it is a Sterling one, that it is the front line, and who it's for. All of this I can tell really easily by the name, and if I were to hand this off to someone else in my organization, I would hope that they would be able to figure that out as well. So that's our promotion name. I don't need to associate any conditions with it, and I have already set the amount and the participation. Because this is a frontline and this isn't a buy one, get one, I'm not going to set a minimum purchase or a minimum product count. I don't really want to go into the details of a buy one, get one, but this is where you'll use those fields. So if I were doing a buy 5, get 1, I'm going to set that minimum purchase to 5. And at minimum product count is saying of the, 7 different products that are eligible for this buy 1, get 1, or buy 5, get 1, I want them to buy 2. They have 7 choices. They have to have 2 different products that equal 5 total units between them. So that's what those 2 things are doing in that buy 1, get 1 scenario. I'm actually going to set those back to 0 because it's a front line. We're not doing a buy 1, get 1. All right. Now, the next thing you'll notice here is start date is also a required field, and it's already populated for tomorrow. It assumes that you're setting these things up in advance. And part of the reason is that it's prioritizing that sales experience. We want to make sure that the invoices that apply to tomorrow, the sales reps that are going out to tomorrow on their handheld devices on Encompass Mobile, they're seeing those promotions that are live in flight. They don't have to refresh Encompass Mobile in order to see them. And any invoices that it does apply to are going to get refreshed with it in the sort of overnight refresh. So that start date matters. It'll always be set to tomorrow. I recommend that you set them up at least a day in advance, but past me could go back and backdate this. Let's say, oops, I didn't do that. Any invoices that are still editable from these backdates would have this refreshed and applied. I hope you don't have that. I hope that your invoices are closed out and locked and that the pricing can't change overnight because we backdated this on an oopsie. If they need to be corrected, though, if you have to reverse and correct those invoices in order to make this apply, this is how you would do that. So this start date and the end date do matter for when you are reversing and correcting your data. If you have never had to do that, just wait. It happens, and not necessarily through anyone's fault, but because, we come across an invoice that from a month ago or a week ago that we need to make a correction to. So that reverse and correct process does exist, and it's this start and end date that would allow the correct promotion to be applied to that invoice when it happens. So be leveraging them when you can. Next on is a field that is used by the sales rep. So it's something that if they are, out at a customer and they have the buy one, get one, or we're offering some kind of participation, they would be able to see that. It's not required. It's not something you need to do, but if that's something that your sales reps like to see, you can certainly add it. I'm going to leave this as no override to for the salesman override because I don't want them to be able to override to a different front line. That's not something I want them to be able to select. I want them to have to come to me, ask for that kind of thing. But I'm not going to give that override ability. Just a couple more fields left at the promotion level, and then we'll continue on. Active is obviously a really important one. If your promotion isn't active, then it isn't something that can be applied. And I'm going to go ahead and change this date back to tomorrow. I just realized that. Sorry, folks. If your promotion is not active, it cannot be applied. Doesn't matter how perfect you've set it up. It doesn't matter if the locations are right and the customers are right and the dates are right and the products are on there and we've added our participation. If it's not active, it obviously won't go. So it defaults to active under the assumption that this is pricing you want to deploy. If for some reason that isn't true, set it to inactive. But in most cases, we're creating pricing because we do need that to be true. All right, all products. So this one is going to do just exactly what it says it's going to do. This is one of those sort of easy buttons also, where if I, instead of attaching, let's say I have 1,600 SKUs of products in my system. If I wanted all of them to get a $2 discount for whatever reason, this would be a good use case for the all products button. I don't want to create 1,600 different promotions products records. I don't want to put them in a line, and I don't want to do that. I would just toggle this on. That use case is kind of narrow, and I don't want to do that for my front line. I'm not giving $2 off of the promotion or of the product price for every single customer on every single product. I'm not doing that. I'm here to sell products, and that does do that, just not in the way that I want it to. So I'm not toggling it on, but if I did, that is what it would do. And a memo is a note just for us internally. So it can indicate, if there's ever a handoff of information or someone who has common questions or notes that we leave to other locations about these promotions or administrators or whoever, that's how we might use this memo field. I don't have a memo to leave, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this record. Now at this point, I have created my front line. It applies to my Sterling location and a promotion zone that I've selected. So my market does have both a promotion zone and a location on it. Those are not things that I'm going to need to add here as subtable records, right? And because I'm using promotion zones, not the individual customers, I'm also not going to be adding promotions customers directly here. What I will be doing, though, is adding promotions products. And I decided that when I was setting up the line because my seltzer products have different participation than my beer products do. So I'm going to go ahead and add
Hey,
promotion.
Lori.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, before we move into the next step, I have a couple questions for you before I get you totally off topic. Um, this one you might answer in a little bit, so I apologize if I'm skipping ahead here. But
Um,
when you give a discount to a customer, do you need to set up a separate market for that customer?
no, no, you
Okay.
don't. So this is, I guess, some of the nuance that we have here. If in the market, and let's just take a quick look at it because we're here. My market is named Sterling All, and when I add the subtables for promotions locations, whoops, and promotion zones, I can see who all is attached to it. It's all of these pioneer counties and off-premise and promo zone, etc. I can see that it's for the Sterling location specifically. So these are all of the promotion zones and the location for Sterling. I don't need to add that customer individually. This is a front line, but even if it was a discount and I attached this market, this is who would be getting that discount. Conversely, if I wanted this promotion, if it were a discount to only apply to one customer, I could attach them here as a promotion customer. So I can bypass zone and say, forget the groupings. It's only this customer or only this handful of customers. So, maybe we're giving a discounted rate because we are participating in a charity event and we're not donating those products, but we're giving them at cost or we're taking a certain amount off or whatever it is. In that case, that to me is where the best usage of promotions customers are because it's one customer being applied to this promotion, not that bundle, not that promotion zone. So no, in the case of a discount, no, and that's why.
And I've got one other one for you. This is, I think, related to our start and end dates here. So they say you mentioned the overnight refresh for pricing. Can you tell us what or when that refresh happens and any stipulations on that overnight refresh?
Sure. So it is a scheduled task that runs every night, and I want to say it is, oh gosh, I don't remember the name offhand, but it is a scheduled task. I don't know exactly when it runs. I believe that we can change the time and set that manually, but it happens before pickers start picking typically, and way after everybody's gone home for the night, because it looks at every invoice that is not locked or is, you know, locked for picking that we can refresh the pricing on. If you've ever needed to refresh the pricing on an invoice because this changed, because something happened, you know that you click edit and then save, or if you're using the new invoice view, there's a recalculate pricing button. Either of those things do the same thing on a single invoice level. This scheduled task, you can run it in the middle of the day. I don't recommend it because it's going to look at every promotion and every product and every allocation and everything that influences how those things come together, all of your inventory. And we set it at that time because it is a low traffic time for sites. If it runs during the middle of the day, you could experience some performance issues and sort of lagginess of the site because this behemoth of a scheduled task is running.
Perfect. That's all I've got so far.
Yeah, no problem. It is uh it's a decision to run, and you definitely have to weigh it. If you have the ability to execute those scheduled tasks, yeah, like do so with great caution. All right, so
I
we're gonna
lied. I do have one more, Lori. I'm sorry.
no problem.
Popped in right after I said it. All right. When you only want a discount for one customer using that promotions customers, do you keep a market listed or does that market need to change to default?
Well, you do have to have a market listed. Whether or not it's the default market is how you've got them constructed. So in my site, I know that the default market is nothing. There's no promotions customers on it. I'm sorry, there's no promotion zones and there's no locations. I know default is nothing, but there's nothing that indicates in the word default that that is true. So if you rename default even to nothing or no one or no, no location, no zone, I don't know. Whatever that naming convention is that's best, or keep it at default. You just know that you have to hand off that knowledge or that you may need to investigate it. So yes and no. Yeah, you do have to apply a market. Whether or not it's default depends on how you've got that configured. I would select a market that doesn't have either of those things on it, or at minimum has a location but no zone, so that you can use the promotion customer instead.
Perfect. Real this time. That's all I have. So
We'll keep them coming. If they come in, we're going to ask them. Okay, so I do want to move on to us adding the promotion products now. Because this is my Wind and Clouds frontline, I'm going to click on Add Promotions Products. What this is going to do is bring me to a very familiar, I hope, product search page. And I can search by product name, package, any of these different features. I'm going to search by my Wind and Clouds supplier because I know that this is all of the products that I want to add. So for my frontline, I'm going to select them all and I'm going to save these products. I have a huge variety of things here, including kegs, but this is a frontline. And because I'm adding promotions products, the expectation is that I'm going to be putting that amount in for each of them. Now, I'm in a subtable view. I cannot edit promotions products from a subtable view without clicking the pencil and then going to the field and then saving the record and then going on to the next one. And that's a click heavy process that I don't want to do. So I'm going to view this table. It provides me with a filtered table view of promotions products for this promotion. And I'm going to use the edit column feature. So if this is something that you use all the time, awesome, love it, love to see it. If you don't, all we need to do is click on the column header. We're going to select edit column. And now all of the fields in this column are open for editing. And we're going to say that $20 is my front line. Do not recommend this, but I'm going to show what you can do. If I were going to set all of my promotions products to $20, I would fill down. Do remember, however, that I have a keg in here, and that is not the price that I'm going to sell this keg for. So I'm going to find that keg. Haha, not $20. We are going to put this in at 68. It's a 6-barrel. So I've entered that at $68. Everything else is set to 20. I can continue to build this out and say all of my seltzers now instead of 20 are 18, not 1800. 18, whoops. Oh man. That's a beer, that's a beer, that's a beer. Toot, toot, toot. No longer, lager. Aren't those all of them? Oh no. Yeah, that is all of my seltzers. Okay. So I have my pricing set up the way that I want that to run. $20, $18, 68, frontline for all of these products. All I need to do now is save those changes. So with just a few clicks, instead of a minimum of 3 to 5 clicks per product, I've now set those amounts. We're going to talk about participation. I'm not setting participation on a front line in this case, but I could do that in the exact same way. So again, I would say edit column. Everybody is getting 50 cents and fill down, except for my seltzers that are getting 75. And I would save that, but I'm not. So that is the easiest way to edit these prices of promotions products. If you are looking for the most advanced way, you could be doing imports. So let's say that you have more than, how many do I have here? 11, 12 records. And that is not going to be a fun editing project for you. Do an import. We can import promotions products records, create them on the fly with whatever pricing we have. As long as that spreadsheet is set up to have those amounts, we can map them to the correct fields. If you have more questions about imports, I have great news for you. Absolutely, you should be coming to BevAge because we're going to do a lab on them, but also we do talk more about doing those kinds of imports in the Red Bull VIP pricing and promotions skills kickstart that we ran last year. You can look forward in the recording archive. So it'll talk specifically about promotions and using imports to create them. All right. Whew. That was a mouthful, y'all. I'm going to go back now to my promotion. And what I expect to see here in my promotions products, actually, I'm going to add, if you don't know about this one, showing the default subtables will add all 4 of those default subtables to my promotion. It's the same number of clicks for me at this point. I could either add promotions products because that's the only subtable record I have, or I can add all 4 and boom, there they are. So if you ever come into a promotion and the default subtables didn't populate or came to it like I did, you can add them all back. You can add them in one at a time. Dealer's choice, but know that that exists. And here we are. We have all of our promotions products with different amounts on them that are appropriate to them. And I could have set my participation. Free units is where I would decide where the free unit is. So going back to that idea of a buy 5, get 1, of the 12 products, they had to buy 5 total units of 2 different kinds of products. And I want to give away the 12 Days of Xmas Ale is their free unit because it's March and I want that to get out of my system. Is one way I could think of that. Just be an example, but I would then set this product to have the free unit. So in that BOGO scenario, the free unit is set on the promotion product level, and I would be setting the participation if it applied. So, all right. Now I'm going to go create an invoice where I invoice the Bloom and Breeze lager. I expect it to come in at $20. So if I go to one of my customers, we're going to pop over to Booze Clues. And we are going to create a quick invoice. to check my pricing. Oh my goodness. Please scroll. And I'm going to quick add an invoice. And it brought me into manual edit by default because that's the last place I was. I'm going to pop into invoice edit plus because I think that's maybe more common for folks, but I'm going to go to add products and I'm going to search for my Bloom and Breeze lager. Oh, and I have a not authorized allocation on this. Let's do a different one. We had the 12 days of Xmas. We're going to do that instead. And when I purchase it, I see that the full price is coming through at $20. I'm going to add those 2 units. Yes, I would. Okay, thank you. Save. Done. And when I save this invoice, I now have the ability to see how many cases, what the price was, and their total amount. Now, if I click into this product, and for those of you who are still getting used to the new invoice view, we did not get rid of the pricing calculator. We still have a pricing calculator. It's right here. We still click on the product. I can now see which frontline this was attached to, and it's the Sterling Wind and frontline Wind and Clouds, as the prophecy foretold, because I told it to. But I can see other promotions that might apply to it, and it looks like this is the only one. Now, if there were other discounts or a BOGO or something like that that did apply to this product, I would be able to see them here. And it's at this point, depending on my permissions, that I might be able to override to a different one. The most common thing that I ran into in supporting people in promotions is it makes it to this screen when you have the promotion location set. So let's say I didn't set the promotion location on the market and I didn't set one, or I had a different one on the promotions locations tied directly to it. If I don't have a match on the location, it will not show up here. That's the minimum. If it does match on the location, it would also tell you why that wasn't applied. If it was outside of the time range, if that promotion is expired, if it was something like they weren't in the promotion zone, if they, for whatever reason, it will show that reason here in detailed pricing in the pricing calculator. So this is a huge help to understanding why that promotion wasn't applied for this customer. Are they not in the zone? Is the zone not on the promotion? Like, what is missing? So very, very helpful tool. And if you are not using the new invoice view, I 10 out of 10 recommend, because I described that flow of having to click edit and save to refresh. But oh yeah, we can just recalculate the pricing right here. I don't have to edit and save. I can just click recalculate, and she did it. All right, so at this point, we have reviewed the product. We're going to go back to Bloom and Breeze. There we go. We have reviewed the product, noticed that it was not in a front line because it was new, added it to a front line, and set up the pricing for it. Had we been able to select it, it would have been $20, but because this was my demo product last week for the allocations webinar, I don't have that. I guess I could remove it. We could test it. I'm not going to go there. It is going to give that pricing. Now, you may have thought, this was an invoice for today, and we have a start date of 3/7. It is actually because I do have 2 Sterling frontlines for Wind and Clouds. One was for last month, and now this is for this month. So my naming convention, not as strong as I thought it was. Because 2 Sterling frontlines now exist with that name, what would make the most sense is if I had added the date here into this frontline, indicating that it was the March frontline for Wind and Clouds. All right. I'm going to pause for questions.
I don't have any so far.
Whew. All right. That's a relief because I'm kind of winded. All right. So that is the demo. I hope that I've made a strong case for why viewing your promotions in this way of using the market with a strong name, using a promotion with a clear name, doing the sort of flat file method is helpful of when you would do that and how you would decide. I hope that what you've seen is the agility showcased in how we're able to do front lines or prices or discounts or any of the above in combination as we build out more of these. Now, because this is my demo site, um, I'm just gonna note that I have almost 8,000 promotions in here. So using an app like the one that helps you manage your promotions that are already end dated is really helpful. And we can find some of those apps here in the app library. There we go. There are a number of things that help us tie out some of these details. And I'm just going to look for promotions and hype these for a quick moment. Um, let's do that. There we go. So first of all, promotion product cleanup, automatically clean up those discounted promotions products. It's included. The one that I have active here is the inactive promotion cleanup. So promotions that are end dated, promotions that are inactive. It auto deletes those things that I don't need to see anymore when they're past the certain parameters that I've decided of, like, if I don't need to be a time traveler anymore, I'm not going to, like from 5 years ago, I'm not going to reverse and correct an invoice. From sometime in the last rolling 12, maybe. But that inactive promotion cleanup is going to help me do that. The one that I also really like is this automate customer promotion zones one. We talked about this in the tips and tools session for pricing and promotions at last year's BevAge. Again, I've got a recording of it. Check it out on the recording archive. But the basic summary is that when you add a customer, if you want to set a default promotion zone to make sure that they get pricing, this can do that. What we've found, what I noticed when I was new to Encompass, is that there's a million things on a customer or a product that we need to fill out. It isn't just the customer information like address and, stops and things like that. It's all of those additional subtable records like promotions or additional promotion zones or any of that kind of stuff, jurisdiction, and how are they going to pay? Like, what is their AR account terms set at? All of those different things. It's a complex process, and this can help with it. We have apps that do help, and automating customer pricing ensures that of those three things that we talked about, the customer, the product, and the price, they're more easily matched when we're setting that sort of default. So check out the app library. Some really cool things there. And we're going to come back now to our slide deck. If you have final questions, start typing them in now. That's my pro tip. I'm going to continue on, like I said, for the case of markets and lines. The pros for markets are that we can flat file create promotions, manual creation, uses imports, whatever you need, it's in a snap. You saw how quickly that came together for me. We can assess those promotions at a glance. So I'm looking at it, can troubleshoot on the fly. I know exactly what's in there and I don't require subtables. The tough part is that it requires a clear plan. This is not a fly by the seat of your pants moment here. When we set up markets, we set up those clear naming conventions. We strategically add locations and promotion zones to it. So in a world where that market for Sterling all has all of my promotion zones on it, remember that you can attach more than one thing. It's not just one location and one promotion zone. We can have as many as we need there. It just is that it's that one link instead of linking. In my case, it was 6 different records. The benefit is that it relies on consistency. So when you set up those markets, use them. Otherwise, you will forget them. They work best when you do them consistently so that people don't have to, when we are troubleshooting issues, it becomes more challenging. That consistency helps with it. So I'm not saying pick one or pick the other all of the time, but do that strategically and thoughtfully. Your key takeaways are that a structured setup makes everything easier. We can maximize revenue and profitability when we're leveraging that. And honestly, that's what the system is here to do. Those clear naming conventions make a world of difference. We were all new to the system at some point in time. So when you looked at something and you're like, I don't know what FL is, um, hopefully those things are easy to find and figure out, but ultimately it is those clear naming conventions that will make a world of difference. But this data model is as sophisticated as you need it to be. It is as agile and as scalable as the solutions you need. We have the ability to do things in just a couple of clicks, or it can be more as complex as you want by adding in those individual promotions products, by setting up BOGO discounts and offering free units and varying degrees of participation. All of those things are possible. It's just a matter of selecting the right promotion type, and related records, supporting subtable records. All right. Thank you, everybody. Now is the time for questions.
I do have one for you. All right. When you use the promotion product cleanup on discounted products, what happens if or when you reactivate the product? Do you have to manually add the product to the promotions it was originally attached to?
You would need to add them back because it's deleting the record. And a deleted record only is available for view for a certain amount of time to be restored. So I would say don't delete records that you think you're going to need to reuse. But I also don't, I mean, you're going to need to create a new promotions product record anyway. It isn't just a matter of reparenting that subtable record. I feel like if you have a promotions product record for a discount that you ran 2 years ago, it could be nice to see it again, but you're probably going to need to remake it anyway.
All right. Got another one for you. This one is a little not promotions flavored, but I think we can still cover it.
Okay.
When it comes to product cost plans, is there
Uh,
also a pricing refresh that can be done?
for product cost plans, because product cost plans are, I'm going to make an assumption here, and I think that it is involving the overnight or the scheduled task that refreshes pricing. It's a different scheduled task that would run for for purchases. So product cost plans and purchases are frenzies, but not necessarily promotions. They don't apply in the same way.
Perfect. Okay. That's all I have so far. So I'm going to make a last call while I do my little closing spiel. Just want to thank everybody for coming today, and thank you, Lori, for presenting for us today. We do have a few more sessions for the rest of this Skills Kickstart season, so make sure you check out that e-learning dashboard to sign up for those. Once we end the session today, there's going to be a really short survey that pops up. We really appreciate your feedback on those. So if you can take a minute to just fill in those 3 questions, that would be wonderful. This session will be uploaded to our recording archive probably in the next couple hours here, but by the end of the day at the latest. And I don't see any other questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, y'all.